Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge and welcome to another recommendations video. Today I'm actually doing some of my favorite kind of recommendations, and that is a virgin hero. Now, as romance readers, we are fully aware that there are far too many female virgins in books that we read, and they are across every genre. But something that's a little more rare and frankly should be written a lot more in my opinion is a male virgin. Now, I think part of the reason why this isn't always appealing to us as women is when we read sometimes we want the men to know what they've got going on so that things are, less awkward. Like generally they're gonna have a good time in the beginning, and we want to make sure they've honed their skills a little bit before they get to our heroine. But not in this case. In this case, we have some wonderful men, sometimes innocent, sometimes not, who need a little bit of teaching or just haven't had the opportunity to share their skills with anyone before. So we're going to dive into 10 of some male virgins I've read over the past year or so. But before I dive in, I just want to say a huge thank you to all my patrons and channel members who help me be able to do this full time. You're the reason that I'm able to get up every day and focus on reading and making content, and it's so exciting to me. So I gotta give that little plug. If you're interested to check out how you can support the Book Refuge, I have links down below. I also have some affiliate links for some different products that I get commissions on, so check that out down there. So let's dive in, and we're going to start with some historical recommendations for virgin heroes, because to be honest, that is a place that I find them the most if they are going to be there, just because it was maybe a bit more likely that the males would be virgins, not even necessarily when they get married, but just like maybe they haven't had the chance or anything. And we're going to start with my most favorite male virgin in a historical book I've ever read, and y'all won't be surprised. It is Thief of Shadows, which has the wonderful Winter Makepeace, who is a a Georgian Batman. I realized a while ago that I was saying Regency Batman. It is definitely not Regency. These take place in 1738, so it would be like Georgian Batman, but either way, he's historical Batman, and he's the ghost of St. Giles, who helps protect the poor and the downtrodden in this very dangerous portion of London. And he also is the headmaster slash man in charge of this orphanage. And there is being a little bit of problem with funding for this orphanage, and so he's going to need to become a bit more proper, to become a bit better versed in society to help bring in those donations. And so this group of women, who they have a very long title for their organization, they want someone to help guide Winter. And so Lady Isabel Beckenhall, who is a widow, gets asked to do this. The only thing is, she's very attracted to Winter, and Winter is very attracted to her, and he doesn't have time for distractions, because one thing that he decided when he became the Ghost of St. Giles, but also he was taking care of this children's home, is that he could have two of three things in his life. He could have the Ghost of St. Giles, he could have the children, or he could have a wife of his own, and he decided that these other two were the things most important to him. So he's a virgin, and it's by choice. Not that it's ever not a choice, but it's by choice, because his duty to the children and to the people of St. Giles is more important. But when circumstances continue to throw Lady Isabel in his path, he just can't help it. He's very attracted to her, she's attracted to him, and when they decide to be lovers, he's like, you're gonna teach me things. And boy, is he a fast learner. I absolutely love this book. And I also love how they're able to work through things. There's a trigger warning for infertility and miscarriage in this book, so want to put that out there. Then we have an adorable Friends to Lovers called The Duke Who Didn't, and we have our hero, Jeremy Wentworth, who is actually an Asian duke. I think he's half Asian, and he's kind of undercover in this place called, what's this village called? They didn't even name it. Oh, why didn't they put it here? It just says the village. Well, I forgot what it's called. But anyway, he's friends with Chloe, who is actually a couple years older than him, and they've been friends for a while. And then they're like, he would always come to this village every summer, and again, he pretends not to be a duke, even though a lot of people know that he's a duke. And he comes every summer, and he hasn't been back for the last few years. And Chloe was kind of upset about this because she really liked him and she thought there was going to be something. Well, he really liked her and wanted there to be something, but he was afraid to tell her that he was a duke because he thought that that would scare her away, and so miscommunication happened. But now he's back, and he's back to win her, and he's also back to learn a little something from her because Chloe's going to teach him some sexy things. This cover is fucking gorgeous. Also, where are you, Courtney Milan? I need you to write me more books in this series, please and thank you very much. I would like that. But this book is adorable. These two are really cute. Then we have Melissa and the Vicar. This one is excellent. This is the first book in The Seducers by S.M. LaViolette. And this whole trilogy is about like people who've been in sex work. And in this case, Melissa was actually the owner, the madam of a brothel that she owned with a couple of partners, and she's sick, and so she needs to go stay in the country for a while and heal. And while she's there, she meets Mangus, who he has a vow of celibacy. He's not a full like priest or anything, but he's kind of like a curate. He's like a in training for that, and he becomes really taken with Melissa. And Melissa is just like, he is way too innocent and pure for me. I'm going to defile him with all my wanton ways. And so she's very resistant against him. But once Magnus decides that she's the one for him, he gets possessive about it in a way that I wasn't expecting. But he is also a virgin when they are first together, and it's very sexy seeing things happen. And then I have a gay romance to share with you. This is Kidnapped by the Pirate by Kira Andrews, and this is a book I absolutely adore. We have Nathaniel, who is this bright-eyed, I think he's 18 years old, and he's actually on his way to this island where his father is like the mayor or the governor or something, and he's supposed to be getting married. He's supposed to marry a woman there. And when the ship carrying him there gets kidnapped, the captain, the pirate captain, his name is Hawk, he wants to get revenge against Nathaniel's father, but also ransom him and then finally be able to retire off of that money. And so when Nathaniel offers himself for ransom instead of like his sister's traveling with him, so he's like, take me instead. Hawk ends up keeping him captive in his cabin for it. And Nathaniel actually has always been attracted to men. And Hawk actually was in kind of like a long-term relationship with another pirate for a while, and he doesn't have that person anymore. So he's kind of bitter and lonely at this point, and he's been keeping it to like one-night stands when he comes through port, you know. But Nathaniel is very curious, and he's like, we're going to be stuck together for a while, so how about we experiment together? And things happen. It's great. I absolutely love it. Kira Andrews writes a lot of really great gay romance, by the way. All right. Where did I put it? Then we have one that the virgin state of this hero is like kind of a spoiler, but not really, because it's not like a plot spoiler, but it is a bit of a spoiler that he is still a virgin. But that is going to be Leo from the Air by Sophie Lark. So this is actually like a friends to not quite enemies, but like they're a bit pissed at each other to lovers. And Leo and Anna both end up going to Kingmakers. This is the first in the Kingmaker series by Sophie Lark. And they've been best friends their whole lives. Like they grew up together as like almost cousins. Like they're not cousins like genetically or anything, but it's a whole thing. The family tree, they're in here. You'll figure it out. But once they get to school, there is someone who is kind of meddling in their friendship and relationship and kind of stops them from getting together, and so causes some issues. But once they finally do get together, it's both of their first times with each other, which is excellent. So anyway, obviously I love this series, okay? No one is surprised that I love the Kingmakers and that I'm bringing it up. No one's surprised. Oh, so I actually forgot another Courtney Milan that I was going to mention. So we'll do that right now. There is Unclaimed by Courtney Milan. This one has this is another situation where the woman she was a courtesan, and she gets offered, she's getting too old to be a courtesan, which doesn't mean she's super old, but just like, you know, almost 30 or something. And then our hero is actually known because he wrote this book called like The Men's Guide to Chastity. And people have been misinterpreting his book, and he's actually kind of upset about it because these men have made it into a thing where like women are the ones tempting men, big surprise, and that it's women who cause men to stumble. When really what I believe his name is Mark, what his book is about how men need to be in control of themselves, and then that protects women when we're in control of ourselves, because he had seen, you know, just how damaging that is to women and to men when they, you know, not that they're like refraining from sex, but when they're not taking care of the people that they're having sex with, which is great. And so our heroine, she is supposed to find out secrets about him and be able to expose him, because some people don't think he's actually as pure and good-hearted as he seems to be. Now, Mark's never claimed to be pure and good-hearted, but he is a virgin, and he does choose to be chaste. And it's not because he never wants to have sex. It's because when he has sex, he wants it to be with someone that he cares about and that he's going to be with. So his ideals just seem, you know, which is kind of funny because it's a historical novel, but people just judge him. And so when he meets our heroine, she's trying to seduce him, and she is very upfront about that. And Mark is like, no, like, why do you want to degrade yourself by just throwing yourself at me? And she's very like affronted by that, because she's like, you don't know what I've had to do to survive. And so they end up having this kind of like rivalry relationship, which the heroine is like, why am I doing this? I'm supposed to be getting close to him so I can find this out. But she's just so frustrated by the fact that the more she gets to know him, he is as good as he says he is. So she struggles with that a lot. I really love this book. This whole series by Courtney Milan it's wonderful. All right, then we have a very, very dark one that I'm going to share, okay? Darker than any I've showed so far. And that's actually Deliver, which is the first book in the Deliver series by Pam Godwin. And this is about a young man who gets kidnapped by a woman and a man who are going to train him to be a sex slave. So he's going to be trained to be a sex slave and then sold to someone who has already like pre-chosen him. And our heroine, Liv, her and Van, this has been their job for the past like 9 years. This is what they do. They train someone and then they sell them. Now there's a whole lot more going on in this series. There's a whole lot, but that's how it starts. That's how the series starts. And Liv, she doesn't want to be doing this, but her daughter is actually being held as like collateral. So each time she successfully does one of these, like helping train someone and hand them over to be sold, she gets these little tidbits of her child. So when she is assigned to train, I totally forgot his name, Josh. She's assigned to train Josh. He's supposed to be like made to be the perfect submissive man for his new owner. And Josh has this, and he is actually like going to school to like become a pastor. Like he's going to a Christian university. He's a football star. He's this upstanding kid. He's never been in such a situation like this before. He's never been treated this way or, you know, any of that stuff. And he's able to have this innate compassion for Liv, even though she's doing these horrible things to him. And he's trying to reach her and reason with her. And she's like, there's nothing you can offer me that's more important than my daughter. But again, there's a lot of stuff going on under the surface. But Josh is a virgin at the beginning of this story. So, poor Joshy. He goes through a lot. All right, then I have Inferno by Amara Ray. This is actually book 3 in her Immortal Coven series. I do recommend you're reading this series in order. Okay, so I know, I'm sorry I'm recommending a third one, but hopefully it will make you want to start with Lifeblood. But this series is about these 6 witches. Let's see if I've had my pretty bookmark too. Oh, where is it? Oh, here it is. a pretty bookmark that I got from Amara, sent it to me. And it's about these 6 witches who are all half-breeds, and they, like, all other witches want to destroy them. It's a lot. There's a lot going on with this. And this heroine, her name is Willow, and she gets sent to the Berserkers to try to get an alliance with them, and the Berserkers have really kept themselves locked off from everyone, and they have like their own lives and their own rules. And one of the heroes from the previous book, actually Mackay from the first book, he's half Berserker, and when he tried to seek them out, he was like beaten and kicked out because he's half Warlock, half Berserker. But he's able to actually show Willow where the Berserkers are located because he's been there and survived. And she has to compete in this like tournament where you have to win 3 battles in a row. You have to consecutively win them, and then you're allowed to come before the leader. Now, the leader, his name is Toric, and he is our virgin hero because he hasn't wanted to get involved with any female and then have her distract him. But as soon as he sees Willow, he's distracted. And so he starts like going to visit her in her prison cell because she has to be kept in prison until, you know, she completes each of these. And he brings her to his rooms at night so that they can fuck. And the first time that they do, she realizes that he doesn't know what he's doing. And so he like leaves her unsatisfied, and she's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he's like, "Well, show me what I'm supposed to do." And so she does. And I love it, okay? I love when a big fierce warrior who thinks he's hot shit needs help pleasing his lady, but is willing to ask for help. Like, that's the good part. He does. Then I have another gay romance to share. This one is a monster romance for you. This one, it's one of my favorite books I've read this year. I really, really love it. And this is Soul Eater. It's book 1 in the Monster series. And this one is about Wynn, the Soul Eater, who, this is kind of like a kind of an apocalypse, but these different monsters now can come through these rifts that have formed in the United States. And every 3 years, Wynn, the Soul Eater, will appear, and he will slaughter seemingly random people. And one of these times he comes out, our hero, whose name is, why did his name just leave my head? Danny. His name is Danny. He has joined the military because it's basically join the military or starve, and so he did that. He gets used as bait to like draw out Wynn. Well, when Wynn sees him, he decides there's something special about Danny. And so Wynn lets himself get captured by the military, waiting for the right moment to totally bust out of there. Also, there's this huge like explosion that happens at this military base, and when he's going to leave, he offers Danny to travel with him. Not sure why or how, but he explains to Danny, he's like, "Danny, if anyone comes here, like, they're gonna question you about what happened, and there's, you know, you should come with me, it's safer." So Danny and Wynn end up going on a road trip together, and Danny starts to see what Wynn is really doing when he is, again, quote unquote, indiscriminately killing people. And obviously things are not quite what they seem. So yeah. And it's an adorable slow burn romance. Like, it's good. And there's some monster body parts involved. So, and then the last book I want to mention is actually part of a series. And this entire series, all of the men are virgins because it's a fated mate situation, and they literally, like, their parts only work for their mate, which I love when authors do that with paranormal books. So this series is the Lincan Series by Jenn Snow, and the first one is Big Bad Wolf. There is a 0.5 that you could read as well, but this one, this girl, she is on a, I think she's on a trip, or is that the second one? Oh crap, now I'm confused. I'll just tell you about the series as a whole. So far there's been the wolves, and there have been some vampires as well, but they find their fated mate, and the men go a little bit feral, and then they need to be with their female, and they need to breed them and have them and love them and just fuck them silly in the best way. And that's what I have to say about the Lincan Series by Jenn Snow. If you've read any Jenn Snow as well, like, you kind of know what I'm talking about, because she does, her men are like that quite a bit. So anyway, there you go. Those are some virgin heroes for you. I hope that you love this trope as much as me, and I hope that you enjoy these men all learning how to do it. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time, my friends. Bye.